Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode. I am Michael Petrow, and on the show this week, we are returning with a special features interview with show friend, ridiculously fucking talented makeup artist, local Winnipegger by way of Altona, I believe. Maybe that's too much. Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode. I am Michael Petrow, and on the show this week, we are returning with a special features episode number 176. We're talking to show friend, fucking incredibly talented makeup artist, Manitoban, filmmaker, nerd for film, such a huge cinephile, makeup artist Doug Morrow, ladies and gentlemen. He is back on the show, but specifically, I wanted him back on because he helped make a film. He was a makeup artist on Orphan First Kill, okay? And I don't know if you saw that, but there was some seriously impressive things that went on to de-age Isabelle Fuhrman to get her back to Esther shape. Esther Form. Shut up. The point is that we're going to find out all about the making of the film, the behind-the-scenes stuff with Isabelle and Julia and everybody on the cast, what they did to de-age her properly, because she's aged. She's gone on to live real life. How do we get that character back on screen now that someone's facial structure's changed, their height has changed, their weight, like everything has changed? What are we doing? Well, we're going to find out. We're going to talk to Doug all about that. So that's who's on the show. That is what is on the show. If you haven't heard me talk about it before, you're going to hear me talk about it now. And if you've heard me before, well, too bad. I love you guys. We are at Winnipeg Comic-Con, October 28th through 30th. We're doing a couple things. First of all, we are hosting a panel of our own at 3:30 p.m. in Meeting Room 2F on Saturday, October 29th. Yeah, I did it all. Good for you, Michael. What are we doing? We're doing Hell in the Cell, a battle royale with the Reel Debaters podcast. If you were there last year, we did a live debate. If you've been to one or two live things we've done live debates where we get the crowd involved, and hopefully you guys give us your opinion on shit. So this is which legacy horror character, one that's in the ether, the one that we all know, should, could, or would be a wrestler. Right? We're going to have the ins and outs of everything. We're going to have inside the ring, the moves, the style, the outfit outside the ring, the intro music, the catchphrases, the cheesy persona, all that stuff. We're going to incorporate all that into a world for you, and you get to pick the winner. There's also a Q&A at the end. If you've got your opinion on such matters and you want to share it on the show and be on an episode, feel free. We would love for that to happen. We're also drawing some comic books as well. Mark's comic book booth will be at Comic-Con as well, too. That's what I was as welling to. String Bean Comics will be there. They're part of the program. Three guys collect a lot of really good editions, are very good with their books, and know a thing or two about them. So if you want to talk to the Mark specifically, if you're a fan of Mark, and I'm sure there's a ton of people out there, there better be, and I've said that, go find String Bean Comics at Winnipeg Comic-Con in the program when you're not listening to us. Lastly, I'm hosting a panel with Jimmy and Darcy Waite and friends from the web series on APTN, DJ Burnt Bannock. If you haven't seen that show yet, go watch it. Super funny web series about two cousins who want bigger things in life, and DJing is how they're going to get there. And it's so much fun. It's super funny. If you listen to Darcy on our show, we talked about it there. We're going to talk nothing about anything else except DJ Burnt Bannock. So that time eludes me at the moment, obviously because I'm an only child and I only care about me. I love you, Darcy. It's not off the top of my head right now. But it will be in the show notes for all the things that the Reel Debaters, I'm hitting the microphone, all the things the Reel Debaters are doing at Winnipeg Comic-Con, October 28th through 30th. If you want to buy tickets, do it online. And it's going to be awesome. There's going to be so much shit there. Bruce Campbell's there. Ted Raimi was supposed to be there. Kevin McDonald from Kids in the Hall is there. John DiMaggio from Futurama is there. Like, it's ridiculous. The guy who voices, it's me, Mario. Sorry. He's going to be there. Like, it's crazy. So that's what we're doing October 28th through 30th. Follow us on social media for all the updates. I've gone long. That's 2 episodes in a row. Shame yourself, Michael. I give you 176. Makeup artist Doug Morrow and the story behind Orphan First Kill and just why this man's so great. I'll cue that reel. You enjoy the Doug.
Let's tidy up this tangle of film by putting it on a reel. Here is a motion picture film, 1,000 feet, 16,000 separate photographs.
Welcome, everyone, to the official space section of the chart.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Sir, you're out of order.
Out of order? I show you out of order!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. Welcome to the Reel Debaters podcast. Welcome to the place that asks that favorite question: what happens when real life meets real life? It is just me and the first interview we ever had on the Reel Debaters podcast. We have Doug Morrow, part 3, I think. Part 3. Hello,
Yep.
sir.
Hello.
How you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me back.
It's been way too long.
It has been. I was starting to get a little...
You were a little concerned?
Oh, maybe I used the bathroom when I shouldn't have. I don't know. But
No, not at all. I want to spread the love as much as possible, and
Of course.
I'm a stupid fan, so I'm like, I want you, and
Yeah.
then the ADD kicks in, and I'm like, I forgot somebody.
No, not at all. No, I'm here, so that's awesome.
How you been?
Good.
How's work been?
I had the summer off.
Really?
I've been working like crazy the last few years. Like
You have been.
just no time off. I was on a show last Christmas. Like we started shooting it before Christmas. We had 10 days off and then continued it after Christmas. And during Christmas, I had to build a fake body. So I've had no time
As one
off.
does over the holidays.
As one does over the holidays, yes. Like I even worked Christmas Eve, Christmas Day.
Wow.
Yeah, never had to do that before. And then I've just been, I finished that show.
What was that? Can you talk about?
No,
Fine.
I
Okay,
can't.
that's
I
fine.
can't-
That's
can't
fine.
talk about it
I've
yet.
learned the game.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh no, it's an IP. It's proprietary. We gotta keep our mouth
Yeah.
shut. Okay,
But
cool.
basically, Friday I finished that show. I loaded all my stuff into my car. I drove it over to the other show, unloaded all my stuff in the trailer, and then started Monday on Violent Night.
No rest for the high in demand.
No,
Violent Night. I can't
Yeah.
wait. I can't wait for that to come out and talk to
I
you
know,
about that.
I'm so excited for it. Yeah.
It's and 87 North, right? Like David.
Yes.
Oh, somebody has. It is about damn time. Thank you, Lizzo, for that lovely line because I put it in the show once a week. It's about damn time someone took on Die Hard 2
Yeah.
and made something that's fun and silly
And that this is what it is. Yeah. I think people are just going to go, and I don't say this much about shows that I work on, but when I was working on it, it was like, this is going to be, people are going to go crazy about this movie.
And we got David Harbour, John Leguizamo, Alexis Louder.
Yeah.
I love Alexis Louder. I saw her in Cop Out.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to see her do more stuff.
This incredible stunt team that does stuff for a lot of the Star Wars shows.
Wow.
Like, oh yeah. Just it was top notch all the way across and just amazing.
And you're seeing like guide wires and people flying.
Oh, yeah.
And going through shit.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God, I can't wait for this.
Yeah.
And it's David Harbour too. To get him.
Oh yeah.
To step away from Stranger Things, like his name out there right now. He's there. He's
Yeah.
arrived.
Yeah.
But to watch him step away from the rough cop and be this grisly Santa Claus we saw on the
And yeah,
poster
just
art.
something totally different. It's just yeah.
Oh, goody.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what, December 2nd, I think?
December 2nd, yeah.
Perfect. Watch for it, listener. That one you can't let that get by. You can't
No.
have someone say to you, "Have you seen this?" and say no. You're not going to be in the cool kids club.
Yeah.
Anyways, but we're here to talk to you about a film you just did that the only reason that horror came back into my life is because I met Jimmy.
Mhm.
And I knew that starting this show, I was like, horror is going to be my weak spot, right? It's going to be my blind spot.
Yeah.
So thank Christ that I met that kid because he's introduced me to things that I would have missed and would have just totally never bothered to see. So you and Christy, who was supposed to be here today, but she's healing up from something, so that's totally fine.
Yeah, and she's doing very well, by the way.
Awesome.
Yeah, just talk to her.
We're
Yeah.
going to get you on, Christy. It's going to happen. It's either going to be the two of you or you solo because, whatever. But anyways, both of you worked on Orphan First Kill.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, how did that come across your radar? Did you search that out or no?
No. How it came about, is usually like most of them, it was either a phone call or an email. I think it was an email. And but this was months before. Like it wasn't greenlit. This was months before.
Still trying to find financing and all that jazz.
No, it was more I think it was Isabelle Fuhrman who plays Esther was involved from the beginning, and I believe she was one of the producers. And it was trying to see if it was a feasible thing to do. And I say that for two reasons. One, because the feasibility of a product that has a big following if you don't use the original person in it.
Sure.
Number one.
Yeah.
And number two, is it a viable thing to use the original person, Isabelle Fuhrman, considering that she's like 13 or 14 years older than when she did the first one?
We have a life problem.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And not just, somebody who was 20 and now they're 33. It's somebody who's 10 and now they're 23.
Yeah.
So they decided that they were going to shoot it here in Winnipeg. And so I talked to Brent Bell, the director. And
super talented dude.
Super talented and just the loveliest man and just a great collaborator and a great filmmaker. And, he's like a fan of what we do, right?
Yeah.
So he really, really wanted to use Isabelle. So that was how I came into it. And so what we did was we did a proof of concept test where I took a local actress who I'd worked with here who I thought was 25, but actually found out later she was like in her early 30s. And I had a cast of her face.
Good on you.
Yeah, I had a cast of her face already. So so what I did was I created some very subtle prosthetics because most people, when they get older, they kind of lean out from, when you're 10, you have that cherubic kind of round face and butterball nose.
It's fresh.
It's fresh, yeah. So when you get it, especially ladies, when they get into their, early 20s and all that, you start to kind of thin out. Your cheekbones become apparent. Your face elongates. So my plan was to take somebody, build some subtle appliances that would make their face kind of just more rounded, give them some dentures to make their teeth look a little more like little kid teeth because it's usually more gum and less teeth.
Yeah, like they're all coming in.
Yeah.
And they look like a horror
Exactly,
person,
yeah.
like a character.
So once the go-ahead was given for that, I literally had about 7 days to put all this together. So
Thanks, Brent.
yeah. So we did that, and we turned my studio into a photo studio, basically, photographer studio. We had a photographer come, and he set up everything, and we shot for about an hour with Brent and Kareem, our DOP, and one of our producers on Zoom, instructing us what they wanted. And we shot this actress from all these different angles with all this different lighting, just how her face looked. Then I went away for 2 hours, and everybody went away. I did the makeup on her, and then we came back, and then we shot again the same thing. Probably 2 hours of shooting, different angles, making her look small and, different lighting and all that. We did that. They took all those pictures. They turned them into a book that you would sell to say, this is what she's like before, this is what she's like after, this is what we can do.
It's your sizzle reel.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so it seemed...
Did you put it in order of, like, if you could flip it, she'd get younger
No.
as you go?
No.
Because that would have been
that would have been
a
awesome.
little cherry on the cake.
Yeah. So, again, because this is going back... This is like 3 years ago, I think. Is it 3 years ago or 2.5 years ago? Anyway, it seemed like there was a little bit of time, and then we got the go-ahead that, okay, we want to try this now on Isabelle. So I'm like, okay. So I had Isabelle, her face cast and her teeth cast and everything in L.A.
Yep.
Sent it to me here. I built everything, but because of COVID, I couldn't go to L.A. to apply it. So I got a friend of mine, really talented makeup artist, to apply it
on
her, and they actually built a set, and they shot some kind of scenes with another actor, different angles, different lighting, and did all that, and that was used to sell. Yes, we can use Isabelle. And
that's cool.
So then there was another.
Have you ever done that before with
No.
this whole book process? And I mean, Zoom filmmaking is new because of what happened, but
Yeah.
that's a whole different.
Well, and to be involved in it from that early on, and to actually kind of be part of the process that is saying, yes, we can do this, was really cool. But it was also very daunting because once we got the go ahead that we're going to use Isabelle.
Now it's on.
Now it's on, and now it's like, oh, now I have to like produce. So once we finally got Isabelle, we did some more testing and boil it down to. I made some little prosthetics here to kind of round her out, but I think she had gained a little weight for like the part to kind of,
Get the chubby cheeks back.
Exactly, not. So we boil it down to, I did like a heavy kind of highlight and shadow makeup, the dentures, and a great thing that Brent suggested in the last hour was these contact lenses.
I heard about this. I was reading up about this.
One thing that I didn't think of, which was, again, sometimes it takes a village to feed a kid or whatever.
You're going to miss something. The problem is we're all human.
Or you're not going to think of something. And Brent came up with this great idea. It's like when you're a kid, when you're born, your eyes are adult size. They're the size that are going to stay your entire life.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're a kid, your eyes always look much bigger than...
Big eyes.
Yeah, big eyes. Then when you get older, right? And I was like, yeah, that's right. So we had contact lenses made that made her iris, the colored part, look bigger. And when she put them in, that was kind of like the crowning touch on the whole thing.
She just lost 4 years.
Yeah, because it really made her look a lot more youthful. And then, of course, it was lighting and angles.
When you notice it, I was like, you look like Japanimation, like it just, but in a good way, right? Like it's a trait that you miss when you're looking at a child.
Mm-hmm.
That when you see it, you're like, oh, that it's the little things.
Yeah, and it was a perfect idea and great touch, and it's what really put the crown on the whole look. Yeah,
and it's such a fun film.
Oh yeah,
and how I've seen the videos of the two of you working together in the chair. Like it was, we were talking before. The hang on this just looks like it added to the making of it.
Oh yeah, I mean,
having her come back, what's that like versus like you get the most time arguably with the talent just because the makeup chair takes the most time, right? And so working with someone first time, always fun because new adventures, right? We don't know what's down the road, but when you get to have someone come back who's excited, what's that like for you?
Oh, it was awesome. I mean, it's working with the person from the original thing who knows everything about the original. It's not like it's a sequel with new people and they have no connection to it. So, so that was exciting, but it was also, I always put a lot of pressure on myself when I'm working, and so that was another kind of daunting thing that I never told anybody about. But, what we were doing was kind of like a big experiment, right? Because it was...
Everybody's going forward, right? They're aging. They're not de-aging in prosthetics.
And usually when you de-age somebody, it's an actress who's 65 and you're making her look 55 or 40 or something, right? So this was not just... physical in terms of how she looked, but her stature, every shot had to be really well thought out, right? It had to be, okay, so for this shot, she's got to be like here and the actors have to be here, but she's got to be far away. And so we used all these techniques, body doubles, foreshortening, the boots and everything.
Yeah, who came up? Where did those boots come from? Because those,
I don't know who thought of it, but it's another great idea.
It looks like all you guys are in Kiss.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
But anyway, getting back to your original,
to
your original question. So working with Isabelle was again amazing. Like working with Brent, because one, total collaborator, two, willing to pretty much put up with what has to be put up with in order to get the project, on screen. But just the nicest person that you could want to work with.
She looks like a joy. She
totally
has fun and horror as its resurgence is happening.
Oh yeah,
I feel that horror is the diamond in the rough.
Yeah,
right.
I agree.
And to then get the actor to come back to it, because that usually, if you look at Jennifer Aniston, we were talking about this the other day, right? Leprechaun. is her starting block,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And most, like Johnny Depp, Friday
Depp.
the 13th, right? Like you look at some of these big names and they all did a horror film at some point. But then they move on, and then they leave that genre behind, and they get into the drama, the biopic, the big temple, all that stuff, the money movies. They never rarely come back to a product that they've made. So I can't imagine that not being a good time, just in general.
The only person I can think of right now off the top of my head who does that is Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah, with Halloween.
The problem, though, in North America is that the horror movie is not looked upon in a prestigious way.
Yeah.
And that's really sad because
It is.
I know that in Europe, the horror movie is, up there with...
They give them Oscars.
Yeah, with the greatest of dramas, right? So, it's kind of sad, but it's the way it is.
Your blood and your guts in this one was a lot of fun to watch.
Oh, yeah, thanks, yeah.
What's your favorite? What was your favorite sequence for kill shots?
Actually, what was the most fun was at the end with the big battle between them. Was just covering them in blood, and we had these contact lenses made that made it look like they had broken blood vessels, and these were like big scleral contacts that are difficult to put in. So we had somebody come in and help make sure they got them in right and everything. But just covering them both in blood, and they just loved it, and they never complained, and that was fun.
Is it a walk up and you're just like splash?
No, it's very. I mean, the first time you dress the blood, it's kind of like that. And then after that, it's very scientific in that you've got to match what it looks like every day, right?
So
then
okay.
you're becoming a scientist / painter because you're making sure as best you can that every dribble and every splotch is where it should be. And yeah.
The things you don't think about when blood is poured on a face is that...
Yeah, I mean, if it's a one-time thing, great, let's go for it. But if you have to reproduce it every day, that's part of the game of what we do. But especially blood continuity can be a real bitch.
I can't. Someone will be like, that looks like a cloud, and then over here it looks like Canada. That looks like Manitoba on her face, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Like you can't have that in two different sequences.
No.
The opening sequence, or I should say the opening kill shot where Kristen Sawatsky gets her head blasted. Is that your blood work along the wall there coming out of her head too, or is that
that was
special effects?
That was special effects.
Okay.
Yeah.
The de-aging process, you are very interested in. It's almost like it's one of your major tools in your toolbox, so to speak. Or is it something that you have to be a part of now because it's slowly becoming a thing that everybody has to know?
It's always kind of been a thing.
Yeah.
You probably watched 10 movies where people have been de-aged strictly because they probably wanted to be and you just never noticed, right? So it's something that is in the makeup artist toolbox that we've done. I've done it on tons of people. Use these things called lifts where you kind of attach them on either side of their face, and then you use elastics and tie them in the back, and it pulls the skin and stuff. It's probably one of the hardest things to do is to make somebody look younger. And it's sometimes it can be really scary. And this was kind of like that, but it just didn't depend on what I was doing. It was everything. It was wardrobe. It was lighting. It was figuring out the camera angles, like I was saying. Like it was everybody was involved in it. But the de-aging part, it's just part of the tool of being a makeup artist. My favorite thing to do, I mean, the reason why I liked it is because you're doing a character makeup, right?
Yeah.
So that's the kind of thing that I love to do. I would have rather taken Isabelle and made her look 113, but maybe one day.
Speaking of the de-aging stuff, have you seen the shots of Pearl and X? Have you heard about the Ty West Mia Goth?
No.
Okay, so X is a Ty West horror film, and it's part of the 3-part three-part series that he's doing. So X was the middle chunk.
Right. And I haven't seen it yet.
Mia Goth plays Maxine, who is one of the adult actresses in the porn they're making in the movie.
Okay.
She also puts on Pearl's makeup, which she's like a 89-year-old lady.
Oh, okay.
And I think it was a 10-hour sit in the chair.
Oh my God.
It's something that has all of a sudden shown up on the map as a really cool way to play with story and time and all of that. With this story, what was the most challenging aspect out of the contacts, out of the puffy cheeks? Was it the process of doing the book that was the hardest part as a challenge for you, or was it an actual physical application of something that we saw on screen?
No, it was everything leading up to it. That was
the research.
And most of the time that's kind of what it is. It's nailing the look that you want, and once you nail it, then it's just a matter of doing it every day. But it's getting to that point that's the stressful, strenuous, scary part, because you need to get to that point, right?
Continuously for 30 some odd days, right?
Yeah, but you need to get to that look. You need to achieve that look before you can move on.
You're giving me anxiety, man. Like
I know.
I could just think about it.
It is. So when I got the call that they agreed that Isabelle's test was good and we were going ahead, that's when I really got nervous.
Because it was just like, you know what, maybe if they don't want to do this, it's all resting on this. So
it is. It's resting on it. And also there was a big span of time, I think, between when they did the test and then when we finally heard. So I think I remember maybe a week before I heard, I was like, oh my God, like I haven't heard anything. Are they even going to do this? And I think I might have reached out to somebody and they said, oh no, they're still like trying to figure it out. And then it was like, oh no, it's a go. We're doing it. It's like, oh Fuck. My God. Yeah.
Fuck. When did you shoot again? What was the window?
Well,
was it fall of 2020?
Yes, I believe it was. Yeah.
The winter of our discontent?
The winter of our discontent. It was, I think it was, God, I can't remember. I did so many projects in and around there. Yeah, it was somewhere in there. It was about 2 years ago. Yeah.
I remember it being in the winter time for sure. Because you guys, I know I rented on that shoot, but I'm pretty sure it was October. October, November kind
of?
I
don't remember snow being on the ground. That's the only thing. No. It could have been, I guess, but I think you're right, actually, because when we were shooting outside, we were shooting at a house in Wellington. I remember the nights were getting cold, like really cold. So, yeah, I think you're right. I think it was somewhere September, October.
Where, like, I was looking at your achievements recently, and stuff like this, where you do a thing that isn't common. It just irks me that positions, like, I know makeup gets its show at the Oscars and whatnot, but I feel that prosthetics is missing. Like, I feel that there's nuance inside of the makeup category that, like, you could really, if you just go best makeup, that could be literally somebody just looking fantastic versus.
Yeah, but the whole point of it doesn't matter what you use to achieve the look, because in the end, she wore no prosthetics. It became just a highlight and shadow beauty thing. We had boiled it down to these little pieces there, and after 2 days of shooting, they came and said, you know what, it's really not that big a change that we can warrant, that we should just warrant doing it, because it took a bit of extra time, right?
Sure,
so it became it's still using techniques, highlight and shadow and all that kind of stuff. Being a guy who does both kinds of makeup, I for one have no problem if a movie wins an Oscar, let's say, for a period makeup. Like if it's a movie that takes place in the 1920s or 30s.
Sure.
And everything was executed perfectly, because that's what we're saying. If you don't achieve that end look, then what's the point? Like if it doesn't give you that look from 1932, you failed. And maybe most people won't notice, but some people again notice that the makeup isn't period correct. The same way that if the
historians, the ones that really need to be put into a corner and been like, we got it right. Yeah.
Or that in contrast to what was done to so terrible with names. The actor who played Winston Churchill.
Gary
Oldman.
Yes.
Right? So then they did all these tests and boil it down to how he looked, and it was executed brilliantly and beautiful makeup and won an Oscar. But to me, there's no difference between whether you use prosthetics or whether you're using regular makeup.
Okay.
If you've achieved the look,
The job is the job is the job.
That's the most important thing. So I have no problem, watching the Oscars and seeing, whatever up against some big prosthetic thing, because they're both there because they achieve their goal.
Well, and it's interesting that you say that you started with, trying to round and go prosthetic, but then eventually it was limited prosthetic, right lighting, right shading, right makeup, right camera angle, right contact lenses. It's so funny how all that work you put in doesn't. Well, it's not funny, actually. It's sad that all the work you put in doesn't get onto the camera, and it's a different. But you, like you say, whatever achieves the look, that's all that matters.
It's what boils down to the look, right? Now, if let's say that Isabelle had shown up and she was really had the gaunt cheeks and the cheekbones, then I bet you we would have figured out, that we need to use prosthetics. We need to round them. Her face and all that, then probably for sure we would have done it. But it was all the circumstances that made it work. It's like when they did Godfather Part 3, and there was a real specific dictum that came down that they wanted Al Pacino to look a certain way, and Al Pacino wanted to look a certain way. And the makeup genius Dick Smith created this look, and he made, because he's supposed to be older, Al wasn't the right age, so he made these prosthetic nasolabial jowl pieces and used old age stipple around his eyes, and they tested it and shot it and they liked it, but Dick wasn't going to be the one applying the makeup every day, so Dick was training a guy he'd worked with for years and years to do it, but he was trying this new technique of just really painting the pieces and maybe a bit onto the skin. And the guy didn't have a chance to practice until they were actually shooting.
Oh, that's not the time to practice.
Exactly. So it ended up that it just didn't work. It just didn't work, and they jettisoned the appliances, and the Italian makeup artist just did this really light coat of Old Age Stipple, which is this product that Brando wore in The Godfather to make your face have wrinkles and stuff. And that was how they ended up deciding the makeup.
Just that easy.
Wow.
Well, sorry, that's simple. I shouldn't say
but
easy.
But I mean, it was at the time it was, I think, like a $40 or $50 million movie in 1989, and that's how the makeup finally was decided upon.
Was practicing during shooting.
Well, this isn't going to work. Let's just do a little bit of this, and that's what they ended up doing. It's sometimes the circumstances just are not in your favor, and you're not going to win, and you do the best job you can, and it's like, okay, I did the best job I can, and this is how it was decided. Okay.
When do you can you, or do you always need to see it hit camera to know that it's right, or can you see that in the chair? Like when you're making somebody up, is there, because you've done it for so long that I feel you're in the 10,000 hours club, right? Like you're bordering on mad genius. Like a composer can hear keys jingle and be like, that's a B sharp. Can you see when it's camera ready?
Sure.
And then it's just plus minus touch up.
Yeah. The only thing, and this is, John Landis once said this, again, The Exorcist was kind of like this. Dick Smith had done all these different tests, and they boil it down to this look. And then when Linda Blair came in on set for the first time in this look, which everyone had decided upon, somebody made a comment about she looks like she has a mask on. And the director, William Friedkin, heard this and said, it looks too masky. We have to redesign the makeup. So they redesigned it in a way that how it ended up looking, where Dick Smith still was able to alter her face, but using the cuts that she inflicts on herself as a way of making her face kind of altered.
Those cuts are great.
They're amazing. And the thing is that the original makeup it's incredible. It looks really cool, but the director was right because she actually was so changed that it wasn't believable. And the thing that I got from that and what John Landis said was, I'm always going to look at a makeup through a makeup artist's eyes. I'm never going to look at a makeup through a director's eyes unless I'm directing, right?
Interesting.
So like last year, I did the show where I had to age a whole bunch of people, did all these tests. They liked them and everything. And we were only aging people who from age 20 to kind of late 30s. So I built these little prosthetics and everything. They all liked it. It was subtle. And then when we got on set, it became not enough. And then they were going, well, look at me. I'm 38 and I have all these, right? And
you got
so
48-year-old crow's feet.
So sometimes it's a losing situation because you do something that you think is believable and real and is invisible because you're trying to do makeup like that it shouldn't look like makeup.
Yeah.
And you're always at the answer to the above the line people, the director and producers.
Nope.
And even
back to the chair.
And even if they say, oh yeah, that's going to work great, and you test everything, and then it still becomes
it's what's on this thing. It's what's on the camera.
Yeah,
that's all that matters.
But they're even looking at just in just with their own eyes, going, oh, it needs to be more and stuff. And it's like
more what?
Yeah. So there's tons of times where I look at something and I go, yeah, this is going to work great, and then it's but we need to change this, or it doesn't happen often, but that was a perfect experience. We tested everything. Everybody liked it. We screen tested it. And then when we got out there, it was like, nah, it needs to be more. And it's like, okay.
I imagine for you, that's your ace, right? Where you're like, the chair is the same on camera.
Yeah.
And we don't have to touch. And like, that's like it's like a tiger on the 18th
bit,
hole,
yeah.
right? You know?
Yeah, but it's all part of the game, right? It's all part of part of how this game is played.
It's, you're sculpting. You're bringing out something that doesn't exist in a person that magically 8 hours later is there.
Yeah.
You're fucking with time. You're changing perception. Like, that's where definition movie magic, I feel, happens maybe the most.
Yeah,
right?
I agree.
In the creation of the character between makeup, costume. I mean, I'm not lighting. All that other stuff is very important, but I feel that you don't see it pop until it pops.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, when, like, for those who haven't seen Orphan, we are going to talk some spoilers. So just, if you haven't seen it, you can
go see it right now.
Go see it right now. Pause, watch,
Yeah.
come back. The big change, the big what the fuck moment where we find out that Esther has been this crazy all along because of Mom, right? Because of where she came from. What was that like for you reading the script?
Oh, I mean, reading the script, it was really cool, but actually seeing it in person, because to me, I actually saw a physical change, even though there really wasn't one. It was almost a physical change, and it was really weird, and it was like, oh wow, this is something, like, this is incredible.
That's very Old Boy to me.
Yeah,
that's very, now I've got an adopted daughter, who we haven't seen since she's disappeared. Mm-hmm. Come back, wrong one, and then pull I'm going to make your husband fall in love with me move. That's so mind fuck.
Oh, yeah, totally.
I can't, and like, how was it watching Julia and Isabelle just in that moment, I think it's the kitchen, right? Where she's like, you're going to help me.
Oh, it was awesome. Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and I remember thinking at the time going, people are going to like just go, oh my God, am I, what I'm seeing, is that what just happened? And I thought they'll be blown away, and they are.
Oh, you totally are. I went, this is a different kind of movie altogether. And that's where you use the mindfuck movie trope of everything's not what it seems in a horror, where horrors are traditionally relying on jump scares and shaky camera work and long like all of the things are thrown out, and then he was very smart with
100%. Yeah.
Was it the same writer as the first one, do you know, or was it did they bring somebody back?
No, I think it was the same writer.
That's even better, right?
Or he created it. I think he has a connection. He might have been the same writer, but there is a connection. He might have created the character and was part of the thing. I can't remember exactly, but
watching the film after, what is your prize moment that you see on screen? What's the one that you would like people to be like, pay attention? This is where something really truly magical or hard or impossible took place.
You know what it is? It's the Isabelle's transformation.
The moment. Yeah.
It's no, it's not the
Oh,
moment.
just okay.
It's the fact that I think we pulled it off of, and most of that. I did an interview last week. We were interviewed, Isabelle and I, together, and most of the kudos go to Isabelle, because if she didn't give the performance that she did, it wouldn't have worked. It was just another. I could have done everything great, but if the performance wasn't there, it wouldn't have been there. And so for me, that the whole thing is the moment.
I will say this now, and it's just because I'm well versed. I've seen them many, many times. But Isabelle Fuhrman is Marvel material in my eyes.
Oh yeah,
she could be a Havoc. She could be she could even be a Storm. Like I want to see her do 10, 15 years of Marvel. I'll be very fucking happy if that happens. So well done, Isabelle, and well done to you too, sir. Like,
thank you.
Guys, after seeing the film and then reading about how much traffic you had to navigate to get to the end result. What's Zoom filmmaking like in a situation like this? Like, how has that been? I mean, it's not everybody's true, and it's not the way they want to make the soup, right? But how navigating through all that, because we talked pretty much before COVID and everything went down with each other. Like, the last time we saw each other was just as it was happening.
Just as it was happening, yeah.
You worked through it and figured it out. What was that like before we move on to your favorite things?
I gotta say I kind of like it in a way.
Sure.
Because I don't live in the city anymore. I live out in the country, and
I'm jealous.
Oh, it's awesome. Well, you've been there.
I've
Thanks.
been there. Horses, country, silence, stars.
Yeah, 2 dogs now.
There, right? There you
go. So being an older, lazy kind of guy, having to drive an hour to go in for a meeting, whereas now it's like, why weren't we doing this for years? Like having a Zoom meeting for everything. You can do like 3 of them in a day. If you need to be there but don't really need to pay attention, I can still be doing my stuff with the headphones in.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, if there's a question, I just click it on, and it saves a lot of time that I could be devoting to getting your project ready, right? So
your travel time is reduced by 20 hours a week.
Oh
right?
yeah. So I like it. I like it a lot.
I imagine that would be, because like everything that we did, all of our sales meetings and everything at work obviously was Zoom before because of distance and offices, but the local stuff went to Zoom as well too. And I was like, why are we coming in for this? Like the idea that a meeting needs to take place in person versus Zoom, I feel people on Zoom have way more balls to express their opinions because they're not afraid to raise their hand in a room full of people and look like an idiot. So it's safer from the comfort of my studio.
Yeah.
And time and money and all these things, and you can still work, like you said.
And it also allows, now, like I've been contacted by directors or producers, I'll get an email from their assistant. You know what? So-and-so would like to have a chat with you. And you can do it like immediately and create a relationship that otherwise almost might not happen, because usually when you're meeting with them, it's a week or 2 or something before you start shooting. And there's usually other people in there, and sometimes you can't make that connection. Yeah. Whereas this way, you're getting to know people. Like I got to know Brent and Hakeem and the producers from Orphan months before. So we had this relationship.
You hit the ground running.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's why instead of the big production meeting on the first day and everybody's giving the speech and stuff like that, like that's a performance in and unto itself, I would imagine, where this is like...
Well, and usually you would, in a situation like a regular movie where I'm just doing regular makeup, I would meet the director, maybe a producer, and have a makeup hair meeting. And then you wouldn't see them again until if you were doing testing, and the production meeting, and that would be it. Whereas with Zoom, it seems like oh, you know what? Somebody has a question, or hey, can the director have a quick Zoom chat with you because he has an idea? Right? It's great.
It is, unless you're Les Grossman from Tropic Thunder, and you're like, get that grip to go punch him in the face.
Yeah,
for me.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh shit! Any final thoughts before we move on to the man and what he's been watching lately? Anything you want to say about the film that really?
No, I just hope people. I think most of the people that are watching it are fans.
Yeah.
And also, I think fans of horror are watching it and appreciating it for what it is.
Yeah.
You know, that it's a fun horror movie, and liking what we did. Yeah.
Yeah, Paramount Plus is where it is right now for streaming because it is a Paramount picture, right?
But you can also buy it on iTunes.
You can, which is where I watched it.
Yeah.
And that was just as easy. So it's like a $9.99 rent on iTunes, on YouTube.
Yeah.
Super easy to watch if you don't want to have the streaming service, you can go rent it and enjoy it. Make it part of your 30 days of horror this month if you're one of those people. I'm sure we've got a bunch of listeners who do that. I've already watched it twice just to get the lay of the land and watch one of my favorite makeup artists do his thing. So
oh, stop! You don't have to owe me that.
Yeah.
You don't have to owe me that $50 anymore.
Yeah. That's on camera too. So, all right. So let's move into what we all do this for in some way, shape, or form, which is watch what we make, right? What are you guys watching at home? What are you watching privately? What's on your radar right now?
We watched some of the new Lord of the Rings.
What are you thinking?
I like it. Yeah.
Are you a big Tolkien fan?
No, I'm not. I'm really. As I've gotten older, I've become much more
forgiving.
No, the other. I'm much more discerning in what I want to spend my time watching.
Yeah,
and
you have less of it.
I have less of it, and also sometimes I would almost rather watch something that I've seen 100 times because I enjoy it so much.
I'm like you, man.
As opposed to watching something that's new. And, I mean, I hate to say it. I'm going to say it. So, for instance, when I watch Solo...
Hot take incoming. Solo.
When I watched Solo, we didn't finish it. And I hate to say this. People can hate me. But when we watched The Hobbit...
a lot of people are going to agree with you.
When we watched The Hobbit, I think I fell asleep.
That's fine.
It just didn't grab me
it's a long fucking walk.
The way the Lord of the Rings movies did, and frankly, I would like the other day I watched the Caine Mutiny with Humphrey Bogart, and one of my all-time favorite movies, and the same with 12 Angry Men.
Oh, Jack Lemmon.
Oh no. 12 Angry Men.
The original.
Henry Fonda.
Yeah. Sorry, my mistake. That's my 12 Angry Men.
Oh. That's where I spend kind of my time is when I'm in my shop. It's on Turner Classic Movies or.
We've talked about this before, where a lot of what inspires you is the golden age of cinema.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like the 30s through the 60s is where I think your profession really was like, we got to make this up as we go. Yeah. So there's a romanticism to your department that I feel might not be as ingrained as in many others.
But you also have to understand something about me personally. Ever since I was a kid, even before I realized I loved makeup, I love movies. I love movies since I can remember. So a movie doesn't have to have incredible makeup effects in it for me to watch. As I've just said, The Caine Mutiny, one of my favorite movies.
I'm looking at it here from, when is this? 1954, man.
Yeah.
You're right in that sweet spot.
Totally. So I would rather spend an evening watching The Caine Mutiny or...
Another Caine, perhaps?
No. Well, Michael Caine.
Michael Caine.
What's the movie with Gene Hackman and Roy Scheider? He plays the cop, Popeye Doyle.
The French Connection?
French Connection.
Yeah.
Like an awesome, incredible movie. I've seen it like 10 times. I could watch that if it was on right now. And the same with Taxi Driver.
Yes.
Like Taxi Driver, even though it's
Talking to
got
me?
incredible makeup effects. No, I'm not. Incredible makeup effects by Dick Smith, which totally changed how gore stuff was done.
Yes.
But still, the characters are awesome, and that's what I enjoy watching. I still love watching stuff that we work on and my friends work on and whatnot, but I'm just a little more...
There is a comfort into the rewatch. There is its first effect. Your first how you're first affected by the film is always there. It continues to pay.
Yep.
And you come back to it and you find something new.
Exactly.
I totally get that. Like we do a show here, and like the game is to talk about something new as much as possible.
Of course.
But we all love watching our shit.
Yeah.
There's who you are is so ingrained in your music and your film and your choice of book that it's so hard to read something new sometimes when something old pays twice as much.
Totally. And the other thing with me too personally is I'll find that if I'm watching something that has makeup effects in it, I'll start to not critique it, but I will kind of look at it and go, oh, could I have done something like that? Or I wonder how they did that, or they just did it like this, or whatever, and then I'm taken out of what's going on.
Yeah, I would
Right?
imagine being the makeup artist and the fan, you have to shut off your brain sometimes.
And
too.
sometimes it's just easier just to not watch it, and then just to find some images or clips of it online and go, oh, okay, cool.
Got it.
Right? Yeah.
Got it. Rings of Power, though. Are you appreciate? First of all, as someone who knows budgets, who's behind the scenes, $715 million fucking dollars is a lot of money to make something.
Oh yeah.
Does it look $715 million to your professional eye? Because I'm seeing the throwback to the prosthetics.
Yeah.
Very little CGI. Those orcs
Yep.
are all sitting in the chair for a while.
Oh, yeah.
The prince, the dwarf prince is there's a lot there. But do you think 700? Like, does it look like what 200 million would get you? Because I feel it does.
It does, yeah. I mean, to me, it feels more like the Lord of the Rings trilogy as
Yes.
opposed to The Hobbit,
Yep.
and that was one of the things that I appreciated about it. I love the characters. I love that they're using... well, and this is the other thing that I was going to try and get into a little bit, was the fact that we were talking about makeup and makeup effects and using prosthetics, and people, directors and producers are realizing... well, we can do this stuff now, because there was a period of time if you did an aging makeup, unless it was done by one of the top 3 people, it just looked terrible. Didn't look good. Now, with the materials that we're using, and we've refined how, and the exposure, that they want to use it. They want to use makeup. They want to use, right, as opposed to, like we just digitally blah, blah, blah. And that's one of the things that I'm liking about
Rings of Power.
Rings of Power is that it seems like they're really trying to do as much practically as possible, because we can make it look really fucking awesome.
You can.
Yeah.
And then you just need a great bounce of light.
Yeah.
And it all of a sudden, because I know what those orcs look like. I've watched enough BTS on Lord of the Rings to be like, you've seen them, right? I think Peter Jackson was like, I just want to break the record for the best featurettes possible, because there's so fucking much.
Oh yeah.
You know what they look like, and as soon as they step on screen, you're like, I would much rather have that orc than the CGI orc that's in The Hobbit, right?
Yes.
I'm just like, why? It seems that when they got the rights to The Hobbit finally, that they forgot what got them to the dance.
Exactly. Yeah.
And these guys, combined with the fact that I heard a rumor that Bezos' son was like, don't fuck this up.
Oh really?
Like, you asked for this. This
Yeah.
is not a rocket. This is not selling goods online. This is out of your wheelhouse. So we're watching it. We think the same thing.
Yeah.
I love that it's the Galadriel storyline.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
We all love Kate. She's fantastic.
Totally. Yeah.
And it's something we know. Are you caught up? Are you all the way?
No.
You
Not
just started
really,
watching
no.
it?
My wife has been watching it a lot. She'll watch a lot of different stuff, and sometimes I'll kind of chime in and, this looks really good. She's watching some new show with Sandra Oh.
Killing Eve?
Killing Eve. I think that's
Jodie Comer, Sandra Oh.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been watching some of that. Really good.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
they won a lot of awards for that.
Yeah.
Jodie Comer she's doing a one-act play right now in New York. I think she got nominated a Tony for.
Oh yeah.
And I mean that's Jodie Comer from like Killing Eve
Yeah.
and Free Guy.
Yeah.
And then on to off Broadway. Like she's got some fucking stone. She did did you see the one that she did with The Last Duel?
No.
That one it's a Ridley Scott film
Yeah.
about the first rape to go to court.
Oh, okay.
In a royal family, in a royal setting.
Right.
And it's three perspectives. It's from the husband who feels slighted, the woman who was raped, and the rapist himself. It's not an easy watch, but it is an interesting conversation on the topic.
Yeah.
But she was also in it as well too. So I don't know.
Another thing that I just watched
Yeah.
in the last few months was oh my God, again my mind is failing me. It's the one about they're interviewing the serial killers, Mindhunter.
Oh, did you complete it all?
Yeah.
Are you upset that you don't have a third season?
Yeah.
Right?
It was amazing. And I mean, there is some really great character makeups that they do to turn some of the actors into
The Son of Sam, I
the
feel.
Son of Sam
he
one
had some.
and Charles Manson. But just the characters and the stories and the whole thing, I was
Chef's kiss.
just beautiful. And it's too bad that they're not making a third season. I mean, that's how behind I am on.
Dude, you make it. You don't have to like. If I made it, I would not have time to watch it because I know what your hours are.
Yeah.
So when you get a chance to, I would imagine someone who makes, when they get a chance, are less decisive about.
They're more discerning in what they're going to watch.
Just like you say, you're like, if I'm going to take time, I know how long this takes to make.
Yeah.
Because
up until like 2.5 months ago, I didn't have time to watch anything.
Totally.
Like I didn't watch anything.
Well, it's the summer of Doug.
It is the summer of Doug.
Right.
And the other thing too is I love to cook, so I watch a lot of cooking channels.
Which ones do you watch? Which shows do you like watching?
Um,
Do you like the reality or do you like the actual pro?
no, I like the showing. Like I know it sounds stupid, but I love watching diners, drive-ins, and dives. 'Cause
It's not.
They're showing how they make the stuff, and it's like, oh yeah, I could do that and whatever, and yeah.
Do you like a food tour show? Like when someone goes on a tour of a place and they tour the food?
Yeah. What's that one guy? I can't remember his name either, but he does one with his daughter, and they go around America, and they go to different
Really?
cities, and then they'll go to different places in that city.
I don't know
the
about that
guy's
one.
name? It's
Is he
he's
from?
got kind of reddish hair, short.
Is it Bobby Flay?
Bobby Flay.
Oh, Bobby Flay's going around
Bobby
with his
Flay's
daughter.
got
That's
one
cool.
with the daughter, and that's great because they, we see them sampling the food, but you're also seeing them make it and stuff, and then he
Okay.
makes some stuff, and I much rather watch that than some of those contest type shows. Doesn't do it for me.
I get it. There's something easy watching about food shows. Food's comforting.
Yeah.
Right? We all know that.
Well, and I love to cook. Like it's my number one hobby. So
Do you take a lot of what you see and then try to replicate it? Like,
Yep.
Have you done a beef Wellington then?
No, I haven't done a beef Wellington. I want to do a beef Wellington, but it kind of intimidates me.
That's the thing that's on every reality show that fucks everybody up.
Yeah.
Because they get the beef right, but the pastry wrong.
Yeah.
Or the pastry right and the beef wrong.
Exactly.
And as soon as I see a Wellington on a cooking show, I'm like, everybody is going down.
Or that mushroom mixture that goes in between the pastry
Yes.
on the beef. It's got to be right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's not. It's a fucking burn
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
We watch Somebody Feed Phil is big in the house.
What's that?
So Phil Rosenthal, the
Yeah.
guy who made Everybody Loves Raymond,
Yeah, yeah.
has too much money because of Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yeah.
Pitched Netflix. Hey, I want to go around the world with my brother-in-law's my brother's production company. You film me eating food and having a good time. Boom. Somebody Feed Phil is a TV show. There's 6 seasons of it on Netflix.
Really?
He's having fun. He's being silly. He dances. He sings. He laughs. He's great
I
with
gotta
people.
watch this.
It'll make you just lose your mind. Takes his family on a couple of the episodes, but the bit is at the end of every episode, he calls his parents on webcam from wherever he is and has a conversation with them about where he's traveling.
Oh, that's awesome.
Those parents are the parents that inspired the parents from Everybody Loves Raymond.
Oh.
So what you get is this little blip at the end of how he interacts with his family, which was his inspiration for the show.
Oh, cool.
And like we're talking like Chile and Laos and Paris, like he goes everywhere.
Which is really funny that you bring him up and Everybody Loves Raymond. You know, when you're growing up or whatever, there's just certain shows that I just figured, oh, that's just gotta suck, and it just didn't look appealing to me at all. But I have some channels at home that, you know, we watch certain things like Frasier, one of the greatest TV shows ever, right? Cheers and whatever. But in between, peppered in between these is like Everybody Loves Raymond and what's the one with Kevin? What's his name? He plays like a UPS driver and his wife.
King of Queens.
King of Queens. I started watching King of Queens and Everybody Loves Raymond because I just figured, oh, they suck. They got to be terrible. I've never watched them, but they're probably terrible. I love these shows,
They're so good.
Especially Everybody Loves Raymond. It is the best show, and the parents are awesome. And so I watched that.
It's fantastic.
It is. Yeah. The writing's great.
When shit goes into, what's the term? Syndication.
Yeah.
That's like when you can write a syndicated show, you can just be like, oh, you want it? Another 100 million. Oh,
Yeah.
you want it? Another 100 million. Because
yeah.
it pays. You can write
Oh, yeah.
ads around it. So I watched it on rerun too, and the relationship between everybody's so fucking relatable.
Yeah, and it's just awesome. I love it. It's so good.
He's such a happy dude. Like when you watch it, you will be hard pressed to be like, how does Phil have a bad time?
Yeah.
I've been trying to figure out the style of email I should write him to be like, can I have 15 minutes with you just to talk to you about the brilliance of the show you wrote?
Oh, yeah.
And how you pitch Netflix. I want to know how you pitch Netflix.
And also, I never really gave credit to the actor, Ray.
Oh, Ray Romano.
Ray Romano.
Yeah.
You know, really talented. And then I saw him in The Irishman, and it was like, this guy's like, he's not only funny, but he's a good actor.
Boffolino.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. No,
Yeah.
he's done some. He's done a couple independent films, and I think even maybe took a crack at directing something in the last few years. Like he's done some stuff.
Yeah.
You that you wouldn't expect.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, dude, I thank you.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for having me.
This is awesome.
Yeah, it's always fun.
What's when do you go back to work?
I go back to work. Christy and I are doing a show. She's department heading it, and
Yeah.
I'm just assisting her, which is awesome.
Right?
Yeah, it's just great. Just not as much.
I'm gonna call you Obi-Wan. We call her Luke.
Yeah, exactly.
I gotta give you the lightsaber. You can knight her.
Not as much stress and all that. So that's mid-October till I think the first week of December,
Awesome.
and then I think that'll be it for the year for me. Unless
No dead bodies over Christmas.
no, not this year. No.
At least put an apple in it to make it seasonal, right?
Yeah, but I hear that it's gonna start picking up because it was a little slow over the summer.
It was.
And we have, but now we have that new studio.
Yes, we do. Big
and
Sky
Big Sky Studio, and
Yeah.
also now we have the direct flights
to LA.
to LA starting the end of October. So we're already busy. I just think that that's gonna.
I think there's a lot of things that used us for first choice and then found the flight being the problem.
Yep.
And may have shelved it completely. There could be a world out there of 2 years of shelved projects
Oh yeah,
that were destined for Winnipeg that will
like Fargo,
right?
like the first season of Fargo. They wanted to shoot it here, and I believe the showrunner. I think he wanted to be able to go home every weekend.
There's your deal breaker.
Yeah.
You can't get home.
So and we've been, our unions, like the film union and the actors union and everybody, we've been lobbying the government saying we need this. We're bringing a lot of money to the province.
Yes.
It's great for the province. It's a lot of jobs. It's not just us getting paid, but it's also
Hotels,
hotel
vendors like
vendors,
me.
yeah, exactly.
No, it's
car rentals. It
you
brings
get-
in a ton of money to a lot of
so
people.
right.
Yeah.
So right.
So to have these direct flights, I think is just going to be an extra
a little
help.
step in our stride. Well, it gets us things like The Last of Us that went to Calgary instead of here because of things like that as well too. I heard that was a rumored. We can't get to Winnipeg as easily as we can get to Calgary.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it doesn't matter
And
where
it's
we
true.
shoot.
Yeah.
Prairie Province.
Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, there is Doug Morrow about Esther, Orphan, First Kill, Isabelle Fuhr,
See
all
it.
things. Go see it.
Again, go see Violent Night, December 2nd.
Yeah, make that because that's when we'll have Christy.
Christy.
I'm talking to you. That's when we'll have you on. If not sooner, if you're free, then great. But I'd really love to have the two of you on, and then you can talk about your relationship and working together because I know you guys have done a lot.
Oh, yeah,
Just
for
seeing
years
the photos
and
and stuff. So I know there's a couple stories there that would be
yeah.
fun to talk about. If you're a first timer, go backwards, listen to a bunch of other things, and then subscribe to the show. Subscribe now if you like this, because there's going to be more of this. But if you really want to know who we are, listen to debate, listen to another Real Talk, listen to whatever you want. But just hit the subscribe, follow, like whatever's in your podcast player.
Well, can I also?
Yes.
So on my website, characterillusions.com.
Yes.
Under media, you can go and find the ones that I'm on with
Oh,
Reel
thank
Debaters
you.
there as well. So
Yes, I'll send you this one as well too.
Thank you.
Do what you get video too if you want. Send
Cool.
you whatever you want. You can make some clips with them. And yes, all of Doug's information. So if you're a potential employer and you want to hire this genius that plays with Stupple and prosthetics, then you can find his information in the show notes as well too. I have been Michael Petrow. My guest has been
Doug Morrow, thank you.
Say bye, Doug. We can go now.
Bye, Doug. We can go now.
Farewell and adieu to you fair Spanish ladies.
And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, another Real Debaters production is in the can. Thank you so much for listening. If this is your first, second, third, fifth, 20th time, thank you so much. But thank you to the first timers, the ones here who pressed play for the first time and took a gamble on us. If you like what you heard today, the easiest thing to support the show is just to subscribe. Hit the like button, the follow button, whatever's in your podcast player. Make it so that we're always there every Wednesday for you, okay? That would be huge. If you want to stay in touch with us, if you want to follow us, there's a couple ways to do that. We're on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook. We're slowly migrating to YouTube by putting all of the things we've ever put on video onto that site. There's some surprises coming this year that happened a while ago, but I felt needed to be shared because they're part of the Debaterverse. So the YouTube page is coming. But if you want to follow us, it's at Reel Debaters Pod on Twitter and Instagram. It's the Reel Debaters Podcast on TikTok. All of the links, all of the one-click away things are in the show notes that you've just listened to. So if you want to follow us there, that would be great too, because then you get to stay in the know of all the things that we do and where we're going to try to do this year and what we've done in the past, so on and so forth. So that's how you stay in touch with us. If you want to contact us, it's thereeldebaters@gmail.com. All the spelling for all these things is REEL to keep with the title of the show. So you can send an email to us there, request an episode, want to call out one of us for being a goofball. There's places to do that as well too, like the Reel Debaters website. You can email us, or you can go straight to the website, rate us in Podchaser, it's reeldebaters.ca. And if you really, really liked what you heard and you want to support the show in some fashion that requires you spending money, well, we got a couple ways for you to do that as well too. You can buy our merch at the Prop Shop. It's a store through Threadless, and it's online, and you can order stuff. We've got tons of stuff. We've got our Mass Debater wear there. It's our signature, original, and only line. It's our logo on everything. So you can support us that way. Go to the merch tab in the show notes, or if you just got $1 and you're like, hey, I want to give you $1 and donate it to your cause, there is a tab in the show notes as well too that says donate to the Debaterverse, I think. And if you click on that, it takes you to a donation page where you can donate like $1, $3, and $5, and you'll get something for your $1, $3, or $5. Any more than that's just ludicrous. Luda. So, that's just kind of what I wanted to tell you, that what I said at the end of the show. This is what you should listen to, because this is all about who we are. And now that we've gotten to where we are, we want to interact with you guys more. So these are the ways to do so. This is the way to stay in touch with us. Thank you to everybody, again, who's listened to the show. Again, you pressed play. You took a chance. That's cool. So without further ado, this is where I said I would talk more, so it's eggs on your face. No, I got nothing else for you. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week, and watch all them fucking movies. Bye-bye.